Hi guys, welcome back. Nick Reeves here, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back all those that have been here before. This video is more like just an ongoing, what am I doing now sort of video. In front of me just now, amongst all the other projects I've got going on, I've recently acquired this airframe. Some of you might be able to recognise it from this angle. I have to apologise for lighting. I've got an issue with lighting going on just now, which I'll hopefully rectify shortly. This is, from what I've been told and what I can read up on, this is an Avicraft Moronic. It's got a very heavy duty fiberglass fuselage, which I believe now are very hard to get hold of. This I don't know the full history of, but I do know that my dad owned it at one point. It has now come to me as a very cheap airframe. If you happen to be watching this, Martin Thompson, this is I believe one of your models originally, or came from you at some point. But anyway, enough of that. What I'm doing with this is a very light refurb just to get it flying. As I said, this was a cheap airframe, cost me 25 quid. Now for 25 quid I got the airframe and 5 servos, all of which work. Having spoken to my dad about the model, from what he can remember when he had it, he got it as a very tatty airframe. The back end was damaged, so he built a new tail end, and the wing was damaged or bent or something or other, so I think he built a new wing. So basically the only bit of the original airplane is the fuselage. The wing is here. It's a straight planform wing, nothing too exciting with it. The only thing I've got to do with this, sort out the covering at the back and the top of the wing. So I'll just cut it off there the other side, put another patch piece on both sides. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, it's just to get it flying. The other thing I need to do is sort out the engine department. Now I've got this, again, this is going to be a cheap aeroplane, so it needs a really cheap engine. And here we have, again in shadow unfortunately at the moment, this is a Thunder Tiger 42 GP. For their size, these engines are really powerful. I'm not sure what engine was on here when it flew, but it's going to be on there, something like that. Don't know how well you'll be able to see, but it fits quite neatly. You're not going to be able to see that very well. It fits quite neatly on the front, and should connect up quite well. But the only problem so far is the mount that's on there. It must have had so many different engines in here. The engine mount is like Swiss cheese. So I managed to source an identical mount to use the same holes in the fuselage, and I've got a blank canvas for mounting the engine on. So I can whip this mount off, get this one on, drill some holes to the engine, bolt the engine in, get the fuel tank. Again, this is the tank that came with it. Tank's alright, but it's going to need flush because it's had fuel in it that is evaporated out, just leaving all the oil at the bottom. So what I'll probably do is put a quarter of a tank of fuel, new fuel in it, slosh it all around, and then tip it out. Maybe do that a couple of times just to get all the oil out. Replumb, stick it back in. Job's good. Get it flying. Not quite sure where the battery's got to sit on this, because I suspect it's going to be right up the front, because just feeling it, it feels like a really heavy fuselage. It doesn't surprise me, being fiberglass. I wouldn't be surprised if this hits the ground. This would be like a tent peg, which goes straight in, you pull straight back out again, leaving just this fuselage. Everything else just disintegrate around it, but leaving the fuselage intact. It's that solid. Yeah, just need to get this engine mount off, get the new one on, get the engine mounted up. That's what I'll crack on with now. Okay, so what I've had to do there, new mounts on, the original screws that are in there, I noticed one of them came out longer than the other three. Not quite sure why. I had a look inside and somebody's blocked it out. Looks like they've done a repair or something in there at some point, needed a longer screw. When it was in there, I also noticed that it was about 1/4 inch too long, maybe even more, 3/8. I tried one of the shorter screws in there, in the longer hole, and it was fine. So I've had to put 3 shorter screws in elsewhere. And they're now not going to foul the tank on the inside. There's obviously been a little bit of fouling there because I can see a mark on the tank. But now that shouldn't be a problem. Easily rectified when you've got stacks of bolts laying around. If you're new to modelling, if you need to buy bolts, M3, M4, whatever it is, buy them in bulk. Get on eBay, get on your favourite pages on the internet, buy them in bulk, buy them by the 1,000. It works out a damn sight cheaper and you will use them over a period of time. You might think, well, I need 4 just now. Well, yeah, 4 might cost you £1.50, £2. 1,000 might cost you a tenner. It works out a damn sight cheaper. Washers, nuts, bolts, everybody's got their favourite places for buying stuff. Just shop around, see what you can get. Right, so next thing I need to look at is I'm going to get some tank sorted out, flushed out. And I'm going to get the tank sat in there, just see how it sits. And then I'm going to fit the engine somehow. And then get some new tubing on, get the tank in before I put the engine on finally. But I might have to wait for a rainy day. Getting a bit late out here tonight. So yeah, I'll come back to you in a bit for the next bit of building on this Moronic. Catch you on. Okay then guys, it's the next day now. Engine, I think yesterday the engine mount was bolted in. Now I'm going to see about actually getting the engine bolted into place. I've seen a lot of different methods of doing this, some good methods and some really quite shoddy methods. These nylon mounts can quite readily accept self-tapping screws, but my preference is to drill all the way through and then use nuts and bolts, nylox to hold everything in place. What a lot of people struggle with is actually getting the holes in the right places, and that's where extension drill bits go into place. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. There's a long drill bit, so I can go right up past the engine and actually use the engine lugs and drill through. And you probably notice as well, I always love to have a really clean, tidy workbench when I'm doing stuff like this. What I try and do is, when I create a mess, like I normally do, as soon as I finish one project, try and give it a bit of a tidy up. Doesn't always work, but I try. It could happen. Bolt slip through. One slip through, so I should put a nut and a washer on the back side of those. See already, I haven't got it very straight. As long as it's at the side of the mount and not too wide. Okay, engine's bolted in. see that just shortly down the corner. So now, let's see about throttle linkage. Actually, get this tank out of here. This tank will be going back in once I've cleaned it out. We have full level there, and that looks fully closed there, so that's pretty good. The only thing the issue we've got with the throttle linkage now is it's moving inside here. So what I'll probably do, just for ease, is as it's already there, stick a bit of Velcro or something over that. What might also happen is when the tank's jammed in there as well, that might well hold it in place better. But either way, as long as it makes a bit of control to it and it works, this is just a hack model. Right, rudder servo. I need a Phillips screwdriver, which has now disappeared again. So, what else? Endpoints and what to set up on the throttle. Certainly need to do something with it. Certainly not the world's best throttle movement. What I might be able to do is just put a blob of something in there. So, what I might well have to do now, take the receiver out, switch it off anyway, take this battery out because I know what battery I'm going to use it. You can probably hear the fan going in the background. There's a charger sitting here, charging up a flat AA cell pack. That's what I'm going to be using in this Moronic. So, switch everything off. Don't need transmitter just now. Right, fuel tank. Yep. Right, so what I'm going to do now is put some fuel into that, slosh it out. back. We'll get a bit of foam packing in around it once the battery's ready to go. And once the battery's in, connect it up, test it all again, and the fuselage side of things is done. What we'll need is a Y lead, the aileron, and then I just need to do the patching up of the covering. I've got a few things that need covering to have the ironing out, so I'm going to do that in one go. So I'll come back to you when I'm either doing that or got that done. So, there we have it. Wingtips recovered. Not the prettiest job in the world, but not the prettiest plane in the world. So, it's going to do its job. Means I can get it flying. Last few little bits to do. We'll include sorting out a Y lead, the ailerons, getting the battery packed into the front of the fuselage, But yeah, apart from that, that's it, just about ready to go. Check the engine, give it a run up. Yeah, pretty pleased with that. It's going to be a bit of a fun hack model. Next section of this will probably be once I've got the model finished, ready to go. But hopefully, get some more footage of running up the engine, etc. from now on. So I'll catch you in the next bit.
on the strip.
Okay. So don't orbit either end of them, mate. You're disoriented.